Hello and welcome to this edition of Friday Briefing here on KTN. Wherever it is you are watching us from across the East African region, we are glad you're tuned in to KTN News. And well, my name is Joy Dorindira. I am sitting in for Betty Callow, who happened to have her big day today. Betty got married today to Dennis Okari, and so probably the reason I'm here this Friday. And today on the show, we're going to be speaking to the winner of the Ultimate Challenge, that is John Kabulo, who's going to be talking to us about what changed. But he was weighing over 100 kilograms in Season 2 of the Ultimate Challenge, and now he has dropped those kilos by quite a significant amount, and take a look at him right there. He has dropped quite a number of them. And also, my guest anchor tonight is none other than Juliani, and this time he is empowering the women. Wezesha Dada is a song he just released, but what exactly is that song saying? So we're going to be speaking to him as well about this, so do care to join us. But first, let's take a look at the highlights. Not that quickly. Setback for government as court stops hiring of new teachers.
I will not withdraw, because the fight against corruption is going to change the Republic of Kenya. If it means stepping aside, nobody is patient. Let the men and the women step aside.
Missing NYS millions, Waiguru's planned ouster gains momentum. Plus, fake bank auditors make a cool 30 million Kenya shillings in minutes. And search is still on for missing Hajj pilgrims. Welcome to the program. Our sign language interpreter is Marisha. The Employment and Labor Relations Court has stopped the hiring of new teachers to replace those who are still on strike. Justice Ndumanderi earlier this afternoon stopped the Teachers Service Commission from recruiting 70,000 relief tutors until a case filed by an umbrella union is determined. The judge gave the orders in an application filed under a certificate of urgency by the Trade Unions Congress of Kenya. And Michelle Ngele now brings us that story.
The directive to stop the hiring of the already advertised 70,000 vacancies in the teaching positions is the latest in a series of events surrounding the now 5 weeks old teachers' strike that is perhaps the longest industrial action in the history of the country. Justice Ndumanderi has stopped the teachers' employer, TSC, from recruiting 50,000 teachers for primary schools and 20,000 others for secondary schools. The orders will be effected until a case filed by the Trade Unions Congress is determined. The judge gave the orders in an application filed under a certificate of urgency by the umbrella body. The Teachers Service Commission had on Wednesday advertised the positions on a 3-month contract. Trade Unions Congress of Kenya says this is an attempt by the Teachers Service Commission to frustrate teachers.
The approach that the government has given to try and recruit the so-called relief teachers, it is absurd, it is laughable, if not annoying.
TUC Deputy Secretary General Charles Mukwaya reiterated that teachers will not mark exams they have not supervised, as this will jeopardize the national examinations.
You cannot go on the streets and purport to recruit relief teachers today, and then tomorrow you expect them to go on and oversee national examination councils. Who will mark those exams? Is it the same relief teachers, or they'll bring our NYS?
The Trade Unions Congress of Kenya this morning moved to court under a certificate of urgency to obtain an order to stop the recruitment of relief teachers by the Teachers Service Commission. This, they say, was a move they were forced to take after attempts for talks with the government failed.
We have written to the government, we have requested the government to give us a chance and sit with them so that we give them our views on the best way to approach this particular dispute. They have declined.
Both Nat and Kupet are expected to communicate to teachers on the way forward before Monday next week. Michelle Ngele, KTN News.
And that story by Michelle Ngele leads us to a big question where we're asking, do you support the court's directive to stop the hiring of teachers? Do you support the court's directive to stop the hiring of teachers? You can send us a text by sending that to 22155, or you can tweet us at KTN Kenya, at KTN News, or you can use the hashtag Friday Briefing, or my Twitter handle at Joy Doreen Bira. And now let's move on to more news. Nandi Hills Member of Parliament Alfred Keter has vowed that he will not withdraw from his planned motion seeking to impeach Devolution Cabinet Secretary Anne Waiguru over alleged corruption in NYS. Coming a day after Jubilee ruling coalition parliamentary leaders denounced his move during a press conference in Nairobi, Keter said no amount of intimidation will stop him from pressing on to move the motion.
Nandi Hills MP Alfred Keter has vowed that he will not withdraw his motion seeking to impeach Devolution Cabinet Secretary Anne Waiguru over alleged corruption at NYS, just a day after the Jubilee parliamentary leaders denounced the impeachment motion.
I will not withdraw because the fight against corruption is going to change the Republic of Kenya. The only reason why our teachers are home is because the government has no money. And the money goes for few individuals. It goes to few individuals. We are saying, Mheshimiwa Keter, I want to encourage you that you do not behave like that man that took us the other day and dropped us midway.
Keter wondered why Waiguru was still in office while suspended Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Felix Kosgei and his energy counterpart Davis Chirchir are out of office more than 3 months after they were cleared of any wrongdoing. The MP said that the 791 million shillings reported to have been misappropriated at NYS was a lot of money, saying he will take up the matter before Parliament.
Huyu wakasema ni mama, kwani mama Ngilu ni mwanaume? If it means stepping aside, nobody is patient. Let the men and the women step aside.
Keter says the planned impeachment motion on Waiguru is not in any way related to those planning an impeachment motion against the president. The Nandi MP revisited his earlier statements made last year when he fiercely criticized the government when former NYS Director Kiplimo Rugut was moved from the service.
And I said last year that the only reason why they wanted to remove P.C. Rugut was because he was not ready to be compromised.
Keter spoke at Mr. Japheth Kiplimo Rugut's home in Lesos, Nandi Hills constituency in Nandi County, during the burial ceremony of Rugut's daughter, Deborah Leslie Kepkoech Rugut. Hundreds of mourners, among them State House Controller Lawrence Lenayapa and a host of Rift Valley politicians, attended the burial.
The High Court sitting in Mombasa has today found a man guilty for the murder of his lover, a policewoman in her residential house inside a police station. Morimi Mwangi with the details.
They say love is blind. Likewise, Abdubaguyo Wada, who on this day is standing on the dock of the Mombasa High Court, was probably groping in the darkness of love when he found the queen of his heart amongst the ladies in uniform, specifically an officer attached to the police dog unit. But the said sweetheart, a lady by the name Milga Abdullahi, is no more, murdered in cold blood 2 years ago at Kisauni in Mombasa. Well, today the court has found Abduba guilty of the murder.
The evidence against the accused, I find irresistibly points to his guilt.
And now, Abduba is staring at a possible death sentence or life imprisonment for the murder. The verdict is slated for Monday next week.
The accused had the intention to cause death of the accused, of the deceased. He told her so, and she relayed this information to her mother.
In his judgment Friday, Mombasa resident judge Justice Martin Muya ruled that Abduba strangled his lover to death after the two had an argument inside her residential unit at the Kisauni police dog unit 2 years ago. The court heard that Abduba had in fact threatened to kill his lover a few days before the incident and that he took off to Isiolo as soon as he had kept his word, quite literally, leaving the young lady's family in mourning.
Night inside the police quarters on the fateful night.
The judge quashed Abduba's defense that he killed his lover, arguing that he ought to have produced a P3 form in court to substantiate his defense. But even as Abduba awaits the final verdict on Monday, he is probably sure of one thing: he won't be joining the society anytime soon. Muremi Mwangi, KTN News, Nairobi.
An Equity Bank branch in Nyeri County has lost 30.9 million Kenya shillings after 3 men posing as auditors snatched the cash and left in a waiting car shortly after 7 a.m. this morning. And the haste, which took approximately 20 minutes at Udaya branch, was captured on surveillance cameras positioned outside and inside the bank. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations is currently reviewing the video footage to establish the identity of the robbers. Central Region Police Commander Larry King, who was accompanied by Nyeri County AP Commandant Njue Njagi, said they have already arrested the bank operations manager and cash officer, who curiously arrived earlier than usual and opened for the culprits. The G4S security guard, who was manning the premise in the morning, has also been taken in for questioning.
Some other 3 people who have been captured by the CCTV when they came in and they exited. They came through the main door, the main entrance, and they left with the cash through the back door. That is the door that leads to the generator, the backup generator. So it is a calculated move. It is an issue that was well planned.
We made away with over 30 million Kenya money. And escaped in a saloon vehicle, which we have gotten the registration number, and we are working on it. They escaped to a known place, although we have alerted officers all over to be on the lookout, and we are likely to get them.
The Electoral Commission of Uganda has increased the amount of money candidates are to pay before being cleared to run in next year's general election. The new fees, which is almost 300% higher, is seen as a move to reduce the number of candidates. And, well, here's that story from our sister station in Uganda, NBS Television.
On Wednesday, Parliament passed legislation that increased fees payable by presidential and parliamentary aspirants from the initial 8 million and 200,000 to 20 million shillings and 3 million respectively. The laws came shortly after 6 presidential aspirants had already deposited the 8 million shillings required in the old law. The Electoral Commission now wants the candidates to cough up extra 12 million shillings, contrary to common belief that laws do not work retrospectively.
The presidential aspirants who had already made a payment of shillings 8 million are advised to pay the balance of the fees before nomination day.
Those candidates who pay the new fees will then be nominated in new dates announced.
Following the amendments of the electoral laws by Parliament of Uganda, the Electoral Commission has found it necessary and taken a decision to extend the date or dates for nomination of candidates for the 2016 presidential elections, which was earlier scheduled for Monday 5th and Tuesday 6th October 2015 to new dates, to Tuesday 3rd and Wednesday 4th November 2015.
The campaigns for the presidency will run from 9th November to 10th February 2016. The changes in nomination days have also affected the polling date.
Even if we knew the day, this law does not allow us to mention that day until we nominate. Because what if you come up with one candidate?
Then
the framers of the law were very smart people.
Polls can, however, only be held between February 10th to 11th March 2016 to allow for conduct of local government elections. In 2011, elections were held on February 18th after 100 days of intensive campaigns. Candidates, however, are unlikely to have the same period to reach out to voters all over the country due to the changes in the electoral roadmap. The Forum for Democratic Change candidate, retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, has booked the 3rd of November as his nomination date, with his request letter asking for 10 a.m. Former Prime Minister Amama Mbabazi has asked for 11 o'clock of the same date. NRM Secretary General Justine Kasule Lumumba was cited at the commission shortly after the announcement, though she declined to leave her car to speak to the press. The announcements from the Electoral Commission mean the candidates aspiring for different positions in the country will have little time to campaign to be elected to the different positions. But the Uganda police, meanwhile, says the security plan for the polls have been finalized, with all aspirants banned from running private security details.
For anyone to get out there and you put together a ragtag team that it is your security and it's going to protect you to do this and that, we are not going to accept that because this could be a recipe for election violence.
Pundits are already anticipating this to be one of the most tedious presidential campaigns in Uganda's voting history, given the fact that candidates will be expected to traverse 112 districts in the limited time. Sabit Joseph, NBS Sunset.
Controversial Dr. James Mugo Ndichu, also known as Wawairimu, has been charged with rape. Ndichu, who was today charged with 1 count of rape, administering a sedative, and 10 counts of operating unregistered clinics. The prosecution also opposed his release on bail, which the court will determine on Monday. The accused, who owns several clinics in Nairobi, is alleged to have sedated and raped a woman in one of his clinics.
James Mugo Ndichu, alias Dr. Mugo Wawairimu, has been charged with 12 counts that include rape and the administration of a substance with the intent to commit rape. Mugo denied the charges that also include operating a clinic without a license and masquerading as a medical practitioner. He is also denied operating a laboratory and pharmacy without a license, employing an unregistered technician, and operating radiation equipment without a license. Mugo remains in police custody until Monday, when Chief Magistrate Daniel Ogembo will rule on his application for release on bail.
Once an accused person has been presented in court, it is his right, and this is the Bill of Rights, it is his right for him to be released on bond. The only reason would be if the prosecution can present him with what we call compelling reasons.
He has been in police custody since his arrest on September the 10th, and the prosecution on Friday maintained its opposition to his release.
Your Honor, the prosecution submits that the accused person is a flight risk. Your Honor, the accused person was aware that he was a subject of investigation in early September and that he had committed numerous offenses against various complainants, but he went into hiding.
This follows the release of video footage that exposed Mugo having his way with one of his female patients, who seemed to be sedated at his unlicensed gynecological clinic in Githurai, causing a public uproar. Mugo was arrested shortly after at a hotel in Limuru. Investigators have already recorded statements from 10 witnesses, including victims, implicating Mugo for various offenses they allege he committed. The court had earlier allowed the police to continue holding Mugo after the prosecution sought for more time to access the crime scene and obtain records from various government agencies. Trixingado, KTN News.
2 weeks after a deadly stampede caused the loss of several lives in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, the search for missing pilgrims has since intensified. Families and friends of missing persons are now turning to social media in search of answers that the may not be providing, and for one woman, the wait for answers may be slowly taking its toll. Take a look.
Anna Salamata is one woman with a lot on her mind. Ever since a stampede occurred during a Muslim pilgrimage in Mecca, the middle-aged lady has not been able to get into contact with her mother. Anna displays a picture of the woman she is so desperately searching for. This photo is what she has been using to track down her mother on social media, albeit with little success.
On m'a passé par les réseaux sociaux. All I do now is share this picture, hoping that someone will know of her whereabouts and try to share the information as much as possible.
Anna's predicament, perhaps shared by the family and friends of the hundreds who died or got injured in the stampede that occurred on the 24th of last month. Closer home, the Supreme Council of Kenyan Muslims has since called on the Saudi government to not only provide answers to the deadly occurrence, but also provide compensation for the victims.
Tuangalie kosa liko wapi, upungufu ulikuwa wapi, jambo gani lifanyike, jambo gani litakana kufanyika, kisha itakuwa ni wajibu wetu sisi kueleza wale wanaoendesha haji kule.
The council says 6 Kenyan Muslims died from the stampede and 8 others still remain unaccounted for. The Saudi government has for the better part of the past few days remained tight-lipped on the matter, with only recently the government admitting that it took full responsibility over the deaths. According to the Muslim culture, those who perished in Mecca will be buried there. But for some like Anna Salamata, hope is what keeps her going. Hope that her mother will return home in one piece. Timothy Otieno, KTN News.
Now, let's also look at another interesting story. Kibra area is best known as one of the largest slums in Africa. However, what is not known to many is its historical significance in Kenya. Nestled in Makina area is a century-old mud structure built by prisoners of war in 1917. It was later used as a hideout by freedom fighters in the 1950s. Mark Namaswa visited the building and filed this report.
In its heydays, it was regarded as one of the best houses in Kibra, here in Nairobi. Its existence acknowledged as far as England. It was formerly an officer's mess for the Colonial King's African Rifles, or KAR. Later, it was passed on to Sergeant Major Marjan Ramadan, a Nubian. Mzee Adam Ali is one of his grandsons.
Imejengwa mwaka wa 1917. Ifikapo 2017 itakuwa imekamilika mwaka 100 years. Kuna renovation imeshafanywa hapa. Renovation ile inafanywa ni ya ukuta vile mvua ikinyesha.
In the 1950s, the building is said to have served as a hideout for freedom fighters who hid in the ceiling.
Mzee marehemu Mzee Kenyatta walikuwa akija hapa wakifichwa hapo, ambapo kufichwa kwao, this is the ceiling, na kuna njia ambaye walikuwa wakipandishwa, wanakuja wakipanda kwa hiyo ceiling.
Many families in Kibra are descendants of colonial regiments of Nubian extraction that were settled in Kibra.
Tunaongea Kinubi na Mwarabu akiwa hapa anasikia yote. Na Mwarabu akiongea Kiarabu mimi pia nasikia, lakini ile tang ndio iko tofauti.
The KAR aided the British Imperial campaign in the late 1880s and early 1900s before they were decommissioned. Upon Kenyan independence in 1963, the British departed, leaving the Nubians in a citizenship limbo. How can a community as small as Nubians marooned in Nairobi manage to maintain their culture and history? However, Nubians have clung to their historical legacy, a practice Mzee Ali aptly sums up.
Kuwa na file yako, kitu fulani kitendeka, ufanye nini, uweke kwa history.
For now, age is not on the side of this building, and without urgent renovation, this ancient edifice might crumble and its history will go down in the rubble. Mark Namaswa, KTN Weekend Prime.
You're watching Friday Briefing. Now, it's been 2 seasons of the Ultimate Challenge here at KTN, and the next season is just about to begin. But let's take a look at the winner of Season 2 of the Ultimate Challenge here on KTN, and it's none other than John Kabulo, who is also a teacher. It's such an honor to have you in studio with us. Thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on winning the Ultimate Challenge Season 2.
Thank you, Joy.
All right, talk to me about the experience on winning the ultimate challenge, how the journey was for you all the way to the end. What are some of the lessons you can actually pick from that challenge?
Well, one great experience I had with that challenge is not the winning it, but the experience itself. The challenge was just marvelous. Well, it starts with just doing one small thing. I sent an SMS.
Yes.
When I read an advertisement in the Standard newspaper, and basically I had a conversation with myself, and they were looking for people who are overweight. I thought I was. Then I sent that SMS. Of course, people who are obese have that conversation every now and again, and you have to accept first and foremost that you have a problem. So when I saw that challenge, I sent an SMS, and in 1 hour's time, KTN responded and asked me whether I was ready for audition the next day, and I did take the challenge, went for the audition.
All right. So if you look at your previous pictures, you actually weighed over 100 kilograms.
Yeah, 147. 147 to be precise.
147.
Yeah, to be precise.
By about how many?
When I finished the challenge, when I was winning that challenge, I was 95 kilograms. Today I'm 87 kilograms.
87.
Yeah, so I've lost around 52 kilograms.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
What would you say to people who were probably in your position or in your previous position at 147 kilograms and have now are also looking to probably drop the same kilos as yourself, and probably they've tried and they've failed? What would you say to them?
Well, I'll tell them one very simple thing. If you have a goal and you want to lose weight, then you have to set your objectives. After you set your objectives, then you have a price to pay. In weight loss, there are two things that are very critical. One is nutrition. The second one is exercise. And to that one, I would also add discipline. Because you have to have the willpower to wake up every morning and even in the evening to exercise. But again, the most critical thing here is what you take in terms of calories.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so you won 1.5 million Kenya shillings, and I know I really didn't want to bring in the issue of the teachers' strike, but hey, I'm sure you've used this money for quite a lot of things, including investment. But tell me, what did this amount of money mean to you? I know you went into it not necessarily looking at the money, but for just the challenge. But tell me about it. Has it been helpful to you?
Well, when I went for the challenge, my reason for going for the challenge was really about losing weight. But when I held a conversation with my wife, she told me, yes, John, weight loss is a good idea. But again, the money is also important. So it came down to that, because basically the whole thing is, if you want to lose weight, definitely that was the most important thing. We were about 87 of us. Not everybody would have won that money. But fortunately, the circumstances worked for me, and I did win the money. And as I said in the national television when I was winning this, I presented the check to my wife. She is actually responsible and would be accountable to KTN. She's the manager of the money. She's the manager of the money. I promised that I will look at my weight, and I think it's okay. I can report to KTN today and all my fans that my weight is going down.
To your wife, or was it you wanted her to do?
No, it was for her to manage. You know, as men, we have problems with money, so management is hers. But again, she has done a good job with it. She invested that money, and I'm seeing the fruits. By the way, we are on strike, as you know.
Yes.
We have not gotten, personally, I'm a trade union leader.
I meant to ask what your view is on this. How are you taking it? Is it biting so hard?
Well, not really. What I will say is that we are in a country that really needs to change the way they do things. One of the things that is very critical here, Joy, is that we are not going to be a country that is controlled by wage bill instead of controlling wage bill. the reason, the problem we have now is that we need more teachers in classrooms. We need more soldiers to secure our countries. We need nurses, we need doctors. Every time we ask for a salary increment, we are told about the wage bill. We elected leaders to actually give us solutions to these problems.
Yes.
Yeah. So wage bill is not going to hold us back. Today, we need teachers, and we need those teachers to be well remunerated. A test that was done in Minnesota University showed something very clearly, that in countries where teachers are respected by those society or those communities, and teachers are well remunerated, test scores tend to be high.
Yes.
So there's a correlation between test scores, good test scores, and respect and remuneration of teachers. Our country must start respecting teachers, not just paying them well, but respecting them well.
Teachers, like you say. And I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, John Kabulo, for paying us a visit here on KTN Friday Briefing. And he is the winner of the Ultimate Challenge Season 2 here that airs on KTN. And the next season is going to be starting very soon, so be sure to tune into KTN Home or KTN Kenya and participate in that as well. And I'm sure you will be honored to be speaking to us here after you have won that money. John Kabulo right there, who is also the Kupet Executive Secretary in Kisumu County. Now let's remind you of our big question tonight. And before that, let's now take you to a story of hope. And Kenyans once again demonstrated their unity and lending a hand when they raised close to 8 million shillings in aid of a 3-year-old baby who is to undergo surgery for kidney transplant in India. The initiative by Jeff Koinange during his show, Jeff Koinange Live, saw the amount raised exceeding the required 2 million Kenya shillings.
Patience is bitter, but the fruits are sweeter. Patience and perseverance have a magical effect before which difficulties disappear and obstacles vanish. In less than 30 hours, Kenyans from all walks of life have contributed over 7.5 million Kenya shillings towards baby Jeremiah's trip to India in a bid to save his life.
I'm Jeff Koinange, and this is Jeff Koinange Live.
This is Jeremiah Charles Jr. when his mother came to tell of his story on JKL, a regular live TV series on KTN.
This is the only kid I've seen with my eyes.
The world was in shock to learn that innocently he lives with only one kidney, which unfortunately is malfunctioning and has been choking for the last 2 years and about to give up on him, forcing him to use a catheter to pass urine.
For him right now it's a matter of time. We don't have the time. He needs to get to India and have the operation as soon as possible.
He's been given 1 month to live, and he can live. His mother calls him the miracle baby. Maybe we can help him become that miracle baby. Send whatever you can to that pay bill number. Pay bill is 827172, and the name is Jeremiah Charles Jr. Let's show that Kenyans have the true gift of giving.
But his testimony has drastically changed. Over 14,000 Kenyans turning out in large numbers to cost share in his treatment plan and restoration of his health, contributing over 7.5 million by 7 p.m. today.
5.6 million? Yeah, 5.6 million. Are you kidding me? You're not kidding you. This is a screenshot. And it's still coming in? Yeah, it's still coming in.
This, his mother says, is a story she will live to witness and forever bear testimony of.
Now I'm feeling just shaking, I feel like falling down. I'm very happy because already we have got the money we wanted and we are still going to India. Thank you for my fellow Kenyans and the rest, whoever was watching this and supported me. I say thank you, be blessed, and God expand your territories.
Stanley Mbichu, KTN News.
Welcome back. You are watching Friday Briefing here on KTN News, and it's that time where we speak to our guest anchors. And on the show, or on the bulletin tonight, we have a gentleman, like I mentioned, I'm a big fan of his, but also he's a very impressive artist. He puts some thought into his lyrics, and we're going to be speaking to him about some of his initiatives. He's here also with the country director for Half the Sky movement. It's Rosa Kihara. So welcome with me, none other than Juliani. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is that something you just learned today? Wow, it's such an honor to have you in studio. Rosa, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, I guess I'll start with Juliani. What have you been up to?
Nothing much. This year, just releasing videos and community projects that I'm working on right now. So nothing much really.
Yeah, I watched a video of yours where you did a song with Emmanuel Jal.
Yeah, that was an elephant campaign that we did last year. Actually, this year. So yeah.
Okay, and you know, you tend to do a lot of thought, thought process before you even do any music of yours. Why is this so?
Because music will live forever. So you have to really, if you're going to speak to people and you're going to change their attitude, you really need to know the expected results. So you don't just go into the studio and make a hit. You have to make something that will change people's attitude and will live longer.
You live longer.
Yeah. You stay young.
All right, so tell me about Wezesha Dada initiative. Why did you even choose to decide to be the face of this specific initiative?
Because I strongly believe in the ability of women, and I'm a father to a beautiful lady. So I have a responsibility, and I have.
How old is she now?
She's like 9 months.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I believe that there's a lot of things if a lot of things were taken care of that women are going through. I think women will have more time to, of course, be great mothers and also to be great entrepreneurs or great whoever to build our country. So I think women are going through a lot of stuff that if those stuff were taken care of, it would be easier for them to be.
All right.
Yeah.
And I guess I should now bring in Rosa Kihara, who is the country director for Half the Sky movement. Why did you think Juliani was the right person to head this initiative?
We
Rosa.
we know that he cares about young people from his initiative in Dandora. I also had researched about him and known that he had done something for the Nairobi Stock Exchange to encourage young people to invest more. So I thought that this guy is a mentor, and whatever he says goes, and then he has a passion, about what he actually puts his mind to. So for me, that was it was very catchy to me. Yeah.
All right. And so this initiative, what exactly are you aimed at achieving, and how long is it meant to go for?
Half the Sky movement is actually a pilot project that began in January 2014, ending December 2015, and it's a gender and transmedia tools project. So it's where we're saying that a lot of people work in initiatives that have to do with women, but we are working in these initiatives using the media and transmedia tools. So we are very big on whatever people see. We have our documentaries, our education pieces, and the games people play. So we're into technology, and that's how we want to measure attitude and behavior change. So our local campaign name is what we call now Wezesha Dada Inua Jamii.
Wezesha Dada Inua Jamii.
Yes.
Right. Are we going to see you soon sing a song about technology and how it plays a role in young people's lives?
Actually, I love technology. One or two of my businesses is technology. I love technology. So so I want nowadays. I don't know. I mean, if a particular issue like this is so dear to me, so I'll sing about it, and I'm easily inspired. But technology and stuff, it's better practical. When you do it practically, it demonstrates.
Right.
So to see him betu alafu.
Does Juliani have mentors?
I do. One of my, of course, it's a friend and also a mentor is Bob. just because of his beliefs and how he runs his business.
And that's Bob Colomo.
Yeah,
right.
So how he runs his business, and he always take time and sit down and try to explain some of the things that have led him to be who he is right now. So I think it connects with me easier. And of course, my father and my mom, they're always there. They always make sure I become the best that I can ever be. So yeah.
All right, and so you did these lyrics. You wrote them yourself and then put all the thinking into it. You might want to give us a few lines of it.
I cannot give you the lines because I haven't crammed. But what happened is that, of course, we spoke.
Yes.
First, we met with Rosa, and of course, I got what they were trying to do. But it was a little bit easier for me because I was in the right space and I was in the right mindset when it comes to how this kind of music. So it wasn't like, oh, my lyrics, my punchline, nah. It was just actually it took short time.
But it wasn't like what you put into Utawala, because that is where you put your thought process into.
No, Utawala actually I did it in 30 minutes, you know.
In 30 minutes?
Yeah, so this one and this is particular, so I won't use the same lyrics that I would have used. This is like particular, everything is out to be particular. So this actually for me is like out of my box kawaida, you know. Yeah.
Would you say that is the song that actually gave you your big break?
Utawala?
Yeah.
Utawala was wide, of course, different demographic and everybody else, you know. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let me remind you of the first verse. Maybe it will give you a boost to some of those things you're going to do at the end of it all. Look at my nails. You can't tell. My smile as well. For me, it's a blessing. Kwenyu in a car curse. Awesome. Go on.
For real, siwezi kumbuka. I can.
Alright, okay, Juliani. Now, usually when we have guest anchors on the show, we want them as well to try and fit into our shoes. Do you think you can do my job better?
It's stage too. It's just a stage like any other stage. The only difference is
come show me what your medals. Yeah. Let's go. So you can tell us if you really can do this better than I can. So, have a seat over there. And the script that you are going to be reading, you know, today was Betty Kyalo's big day. And she did say the vows.
Vow.
Are you planning on doing that very soon?
And I vowed to love Christ, yeah.
All right, you vowed to love Christ. All right, that's a good one there. But this is the iPad with your intro, and you have a backup here in case this thing blacks out. Yeah. But you also have the bigger visual bit of it.
I want that one, so that I say yata mimi tumianga hiyo.
All right, let me give you space. Introduce yourself as my anchor. I'll just do the producing. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, ni kizungu nilikuwa nasema. This niaje mini Juliani na naanka na Sheng Iza. So I need to start. Yeah. Betty weds Dennis. Oh, standby VCR. Okay. KTN's news anchor Betty Kyalo walked down the aisle today, marrying her long-term partner Dennis Okari na mjo kutoka sijui kitambo. Today's event marked the climax of 6 years, not 1, 6 years of friendship that blossomed from right here in our KTN newsroom. Kwa newsroom. Okay, so Zinzi Kibiku reports.
Weddings, an occasion full of love, dancing and laughter.
I give you my hand, my heart, and my love. From this day forward.
And for KTN's Friday briefing anchor Betty Kyalo, it wasn't anything short of that, as she said I do to fellow journalist Dennis Okari. And on this day, the sun was shining, allowing perfect weather for a garden-themed wedding. The venue setup was beautifully decorated with white and a touch of peach.
The wedding that Dennis and I envisioned from the get-go, because everything that we did is, everything that we wanted is everything that we did, and that's what happened today. So we're very excited that what
we had in our minds is what transpired today.
The KTN's team wasn't left out of the fun. From managers to reporters and fellow anchors, they all came out to shower the new couple with love and support. But like any love story, everyone is curious to know how it all started.
Well, it started at KTN.
In the newsroom.
In the newsroom. This guy was teaching me how to read the auto cue because I couldn't do it at first. So, you know, he really helped. One thing led to another. But I'm the one who, made the first move. I'm that kind of a girl.
The couple who are employed by rival media houses prove that love, in most instances, knows no business competition. Zinzi Kibiku, KTN News.
And so, how do you think you fared?
Nilikuwa fair. Nilikuwa fair.
Alright, like Betty always says, she always gives a score. So I'm thinking, maybe I'll give you 5 out of 10.
I wasn't sure any apple. I nailed it.
Alright, I'll give you a 7 out of 10.
7, okay.
Yes, not too bad. And that was a beautiful wedding that Betty Kialo had. Lovely couple. I wish them all the best in their marriage. Got any wishes for Dennis and Betty?
Dennis, moral yani strong.
Alright, alright, there you go. And you're going to stick around with me. We're going to be back with Willis, the word master, in just a short while. And, well, it's a surprise word that you are up for. We have business as well coming up and sports, so do stay with us. This is Friday Briefing. Supermarkets and banks have been put on notice over issuing of non-legal currency products as changed by the Central Bank of Kenya. According to CBK, institutions have been handing out airtime, matchboxes and sweets as an alternative to issuing change on the premise of lack of coins, which CBK says is illegal. In a circular, the central bank said that the practice is a violation of the law by denying customers the option to first obtain change in currency coins. Supermarkets have in the past argued the shortage of coins as well as the cost of handling coins as a major challenge to the operations. And the central bank says the law requires that all transactions made in Kenya be settled in Kenya currency unless otherwise provided for by law or agreed upon between the parties. A few supermarkets have introduced credit notes which customers can use as legal tender at those particular stores. The height of the coin shortage hit in 2012 when the central bank was forced to inject 1.31 billion pieces of coins in various denominations with an estimated value of 5.1 billion shillings. And looking at other business stories, the Nairobi Securities Exchange has today unveiled a new index that will be used as reference benchmark once the NSE derivatives market is rolled out later. Statement from the Nairobi Securities Exchange, the new index dubbed NSE 25 Share Index will provide the exchange with opportunities to develop structured products in the equities and the upcoming derivative market. The 25 constituent companies in the index all have their primary listing on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, have at least 20% of its shares quoted on the NSE and have been continuously quoted for at least a year. And on top of this, the constituency companies all have a minimum market capitalization of 1 billion shillings and ranked as blue chip companies with superior profitability and dividend record. Kenya has fallen 9 places in the Global Competitiveness Index, ranking to position 99, according to the 2015-2016 report. Now, Kenya's overall global ranking increased prevalence of corruption, poor access to finance, tax rates, inadequate supply of infrastructure, and government bureaucracy all dragged the country's ranking lower. However, scores in health and primary education, labor market efficiency, financial market development, business sophistication, and goods market efficiency helped buoy the country's ranking. Ironically, despite being the technological giant in the region, Kenya got low scores in technological readiness with use of ICT, getting a score of 1.8 out of 7, and quality of infrastructure, especially railway, transport and electricity. The news comes months after the World Bank published its Ease of Doing Business report, which saw Kenya jump by 1 ranking to position 136 out of 189 countries. The Kenya shilling has firmed this week against the dollar. Let's now take a look at how the NSC markets as well did perform. A look at sports now, and Kenyan teams will be out in search of top honors in this year's Safari Sevens on the 3rd and 4th of October at the Kasarani Stadium. African opponents Zimbabwe and Uganda are using the tournament to prepare for the 2016 Rio qualifiers. Robinson Okanya paid a visit to the teams and training and gives us the report.
With Kenya losing out on top honors last year during the Safari Sevens, Shujaa and Morans will be out to regain lost honor in search of a title Shujaa last won in 2013. With 7 of the experienced players out with injury, head coach Benjamin Ayimba believes this year's tournament will give young players a chance to test themselves against international opponents. Shujaa will kick off their campaign against Burundi on 3rd October at 1 p.m. Kenyan time.
To have a platform where we can look at what the younger guys can do. That's the only way we're going to be able to bleed them into the team. It comes here on merit, so we know they're going to give us a run for our money.
African opponents Zimbabwe will be using this year's tournament to gauge how well prepared the Cheetahs are for the Rio qualifiers. The Cheetahs, who lost in the Southland Sevens finals last week, have made 4 changes to their squad as they seek to conquer Kenya.
You know, Kenya has been playing well in the past few years, and you know, we're looking forward to it, and just to see, you know, where we stand as Zimbabwe Cheetahs.
Uganda, like any other African countries in the competition, have their eyes set on the Rio spot. The Cranes are set to continue with their rivalry with Kenya as they meet Morans in Pool C.
So this will give us a nice base where we can start off, and the better the competition, the tougher the competition, the better for us. It's not for us to come here and smash everybody.
The tournament will kick off on Saturday morning with Australia Icons taking on Newcastle Whalers. With 16 teams taking part in the 20th edition of the Safari Sevens, this year's competition promises to be exciting, but on the 3rd and 4th of October, all eyes will be out to see who comes out as the winner. Robinson Okenya, KTN Sports.
Football Kenya Federation presidential candidate Gor Semelango is promising to help improve the welfare of referees in the country. Semelango revealed this after meeting with representatives of referees in Kenya. Semelango reiterated that referees are an integral part in the development of football in the country.
Of course, the welfare of the referees are very key, because there is no game that can be played without a referee. So we are basically looking at the issues that don't help soccer in the country, and we are discussing with them, and they are a very independent association, and therefore they will be able to listen to me and all other candidates they would like to listen to, and they will make their independent judgment.
Kakamega County will witness the launch of the Governor's Cup Sporting Festival at Bukungu Stadium. The tournament will see more than 1,000 teams that have confirmed their participation in the tournament compete for the top prize. The finals of the tournament, which is aimed at nurturing talent, will be held in December. The launch will be televised live on KTN.
Teams ambazo zimejiregister kuanza michuano hii ni timu 1440. Wananchi wetu pamoja vijana katika hizi koo zetu za Kakamega. Pili ni kukuza talanta ama kutafuta talanta na kukuza. Tatu ni kuhakikisha kuwa talanta hizi tutawaita maagenti aidha wa nchi hii ama wa ng'ambo tuweze kuwauza wachezaji wetu. 4 tunaweka profiling yote wachezaji wote ili tuweze kuwa tukiwafuata jinsi wanaendelea.
Alright, and we've come to the end of Friday briefing, but on the show we've been having Rosa Kihara, who is the country director, Half the Sky Movement, and Juliani, who are here to talk to us about Wezesha Dada Inua Jamii campaign. And why don't I give you the last minute to just give us some of your rhymes, wind up the show for us.
Thank you, Joy. Racial security na job opportunities ni kama mti ya kibiriti, side moja heavy. Usiniambie Kenya kuna umaskini, kwani hizi fat fingers zinaibia nani? Maskando zina threaten our survival. Media define
fat fingers gone.
Media define leadership. Na sura ukiweka front page na improve readership. Ambia so wa Twitter wa hashtag hii ama #reality doesn't make a good TT. Commission of inquiry wanakula commission bila kutupa ukweli. Ni kubaya mpaka kukiwa kuzuri unashindwa nini mbaya.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Juliani. And well, we've come to the end of Friday briefing. Do join us again on the next edition that's going to be next Friday. I'm Joy Doreen Bira. Thank you all for watching, and thanks to the entire team who put this together.